Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to the ACH Alliance podcast and to our section Member Spotlight, where we will interview some of the key personalities from ACH Alliance members to find out more about their organizations and get inspired by their work. I am Ines Luján, the Ecosystems and Membership Officer of ACH Alliance, and it is my pleasure today to introduce you to Dr. Royce Molloy, and co-founder of TriMedika, and Luke Donnelly, e-commerce and marketing assistant. Hi,
Hello
How's it
there.
going?
How are you?
thank you for your time and thank you for being in the ACH Alliance podcast. And let's just start with a basic question. Could you share with us three key facts about TriMedica?
Okay, so the TriMedika is a manufacturer based in Belfast in Northern Ireland. So while we're part of the UK being Northern Ireland, we're in Ireland, and that's sometimes confusing for some of our customers overseas of how Northern Ireland and Ireland fits. Second thing is that we currently sell our devices into 21 countries. So we're in all the countries, and the third thing is last year we started our work into the US. We now have 7 trials ongoing in US hospitals. And we now have the research papers, the first 3 research papers coming off of those. And we're hoping to get our first sale from US hospitals in the next basically few weeks.
Wow, sounds great. Could you please describe TriMedica journey so far from inception of the idea to nowadays?
Yeah. So TriMedika is actually it's a very personal thing for me because where we started, I have a background in I'm a biochemist originally, always worked in medical scientific products and development and so on. Spent many years in the sales and marketing of devices and products into selling into hospitals and universities and so on. But really, it all came to a head around sort of 2013, 2014, when my own sister got really sick with cancer, and she was in a hospital. So she was extremely ill. She was in a hospital bed. She had spent all her day going through chemo. And she said when she got up to her bed in the ward, and it took her so long to fall asleep, as soon as she fell asleep, the nurse came to poke her and basically waking her up to put a thermometer in her ear and take her temperature. And this happened after chemo. It happened about every 20 minutes for the first few hours, and then it was less regular. But she said one night I went to visit her, and she said, if that nurse comes one more time and wakens me, I'm going to jump out that window. So here's a really, really sick patient who is being sort of disrupted is the word that I would use when they're very, very poorly. And technology, you don't need to do that with technology that's available. So she said to me, surely technology has moved on, that you shouldn't have to do this. I left the hospital that night, and that's when I decided I needed to do something to try and change this because it was causing her so much distress and concern. And of course, she being an oncology patient, infection risk is huge for them. So she was really, really not happy with being having stuff stuck in her ears. So that's how it started. So went out that night. I actually put a business plan together on the back of a page. And then at the time I was working with one of my co-founders. So talked to her about it and talked to my husband, who's our CFO. And we decided, yeah, we're going to do this. So we put our business plan together. We did a couple of accelerators that were available here in Belfast, and with some angel investment, we got the company off the ground, and we got the product to market in 18 months. Quite unusual for a medical device to get.
Yeah, totally.
So quickly. However, that was my background. That's what I'd done for many years. So thankfully, I had a lot of contacts that could help me, and a lot of people helped us along the way, for sure. And we got it onto NHS frameworks in the UK. We got it onto BAM platforms in Europe. Because we had myself and my other co-founder, Julie Bryan. She had a lot of background. She speaks 4 languages, has a lot of background in export sales. So we were able to leverage contacts with distributor partners in some of the European countries. And that really helped kickstart us. And now we're COVID hit, and the demand went through the roof. And since then, we've been working with distributors in these 21 countries. So
Wow, incredible. Congratulations for your journey so far. And you talk about Ireland and a little bit about America, and how can your work be extended to a global network?
well, for us, as I said, it was quite a natural progression. And we're always asked the question is, when did you decide to go outside of the UK and Ireland? From day one, because there's a big world out there, and actually patients are patients no matter where they are in the world, and they all have the same issues, complications, and other ways. And we knew that it applied, and we were very lucky in that both myself and Julie, my co-founder, we had significant experience in working with distribution partners all around the world. So we had those connections already, and Julie speaks, as I said, speaks 4 languages, so that's always a huge help when you're working in the international markets. But that really got us the sort of channels to market, and helped us get out there. But it was in our plan from day one, essentially, as well as servicing our domestic markets.
And in your opinion, what is the biggest challenge for a connected health solution?
So connected health solutions. So maybe just a bit of background on where we started. When we started and put the first business plan together, obviously we did probably about 1.5 years market research before we even incorporated the company and so on. And what we had planned from day one was that we would take our non-contact thermometer. If I can just show it there. So this is our device here. It's a non-contact thermometer. Point at the forehead, you get the result. When we had looked at developing this and put the plan together, we had planned to bring a connected thermometer to market day one. When we did our research at that point in time, remember this was back 2014, 2015, 2 things came out of our market research. One was that our users, i.e. the nurses that would be using the device, they were using thermometers that you stick in ears and mouths and so on, and they thought that touch was required to have an accurate temperature reading. So we had a piece of education work to do there to get the nurses brought over to the technology. Remember, this was all way pre-COVID, so nobody knew what non-contact thermometers were. And secondly, when we looked at the infrastructure within the hospital for a connected thermometer, we found that it was very dissected. So one hospital in the UK that we went to speak to, if we had our device, they had 20 different back-end EMR solutions that they used
Wow.
with one hospital. And wait for this one, they didn't talk to each other. So essentially what we would have had to do is for every hospital, we would have had to have our single device connected to all 20 backends, which is a huge complication. So we decided to go to market initially with an unconnected thermometer, which is what we have on market today. And that got us the traction, it got us the awareness, it got us the product out there and the brand out there. And now we have developed in that period of time, as I'm sure everyone's aware in this alliance, that connectivity has moved forward very quickly. It's now a huge need and drive for healthcare. And we've now developed this device with connectivity. So when you press that button, all the patient's details, the temperature reading will go directly into the patient record and the back end.
Wow.
But what we're seeing and this isn't just in the UK and Ireland, but across the globe, we're seeing that connectivity is a must. It's on all of the organizations' KPIs, and it's within all of the procurement teams' KPIs as well. So it isn't nice to have anymore. It's going to be a must have in the future.
Yeah.
The connectivity definitely is the future for healthcare.
And what is exactly TriMedika doing to make solutions more accessible to patients and practitioners?
So as I mentioned, in the early days, the company was set up because of my own personal experience with my sister. Where we see ourselves different is the values in this company is that we develop devices for patient benefit and user benefit. It has to help the patient. It doesn't help the patient, it's never going to work. And we're very privileged today to have Luke here with us. And I'm going to throw it over to Luke and let you explain from his perspective of just how he came across TriMedika. Maybe that'll give you an idea just of where we're coming.
So I myself last year, I was diagnosed with stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma. It was May last year, and the whole way through, I was in and out of hospital, getting woken up at all hours of the morning, thermometers in my ear, thermometers under the tongue even. It wasn't a comfortable experience. And then there was one hospital I went to, and they had actually bought the TRITEMP. It was only for a minor procedure, but I went in, they took my temperature. That was it. That was me done. And I just thought, what a brilliant idea. Throughout the entire journey, then I thought about that, and it was only recently, only the end of December, when I got the all clear. I reached out to Roisin, and I've now started working for TriMedika, and I've just thought the product, it's brilliant. The TriTemp, it's revolutionary, and any hospital would benefit from it, honestly. So I've come in, and me and Roisin have discussed about an e-commerce platform now to get it more into the hands of nurses and make patients' lives easier, because nurses have to go through such a process to get anything ordered nowadays. Whereas if we have it right in front of them, they can click order, and that's that.
So Luke's
Wow, it's incredible, look, that you can introduce your experience as a patient now in the company.
Definitely, and everyone here has been so amazing, so accommodating, and it's a brilliant company to work for. With my background and with everyone's background, I feel like I'm actually making a difference here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Wow, sounds incredible. And now let's move to the future. How do you envision your field 5 years from now?
So really where we are at the minute is obviously to get our connected device to the market and get it out into the systems. Where we're trying to get that different channel to market there is through partnerships. So we're looking at vital signs monitor companies who have vital signs monitors in the hospitals. We know, because the hospitals tell us that they have a problem with the thermometers they're using. We're talking to them to get our device connected there. We're looking at platforms that we can connect with. I'm sure everyone in this alliance knows about the virtual wards. Our current devices have been used in virtual wards for a number of years now, and we get a lot of requests for use in virtual wards. With our new connected device, we'll be hooking into virtual ward platforms and hospital at home platforms to enable that transfer of data as well. So there's a huge piece to be done there. And it's then moving into all of the other sort of areas where, for example, in community, the community nurses still don't use some of these devices. They get them generally after the hospitals would be using these devices. So we're going to focus on community and the outreach, and look at how we get the technology adopted and enabled across all of those parts of the health services. And really where we see what we've seen both here in Europe and also in the US is that today we have a doctor's office or a GP office that you go to for your primary care, and then you have a hospital that you go to for secondary care. That's all changing. What we see and what we've been discussing with many different partners and organizations is that the delivery of care in the next 4 to 5 years is going to change significantly. So you may go to a pharmacy to be triaged for maybe sort of minor illnesses and ailments. You may go to walk-in clinics to have minor surgeries done and so on. And really the need there is to keep the patient out of the hospitals. So many patients in the hospitals maybe don't need to be in the hospitals. And we see every day here in the UK the waiting lists. We see the ambulances parked outside the A&E and so on. There's a lot of activities and moves afoot to basically stop that problem. And the main thing there is to keep the patients out of the hospitals, but deliver the care more specifically for the patient need, but at different centres and different places. So we see that that's the future, and we're working with lots of different types of partners to get our technology enabled and adopted on those platforms so that we can reach even more patients, as Luke said, and also nurses, and give them back time as well to care for the patients.
Yeah, and if you can give us a glimpse of what we need to watch out from TriMedika in the coming years.
So TriMedika in the coming years, so we at this minute we we have a thermometer, and we're going to have a connected thermometer this year. We have probably about 4 or 5 other devices that, as we've moved through and this has all come from being in hospitals, talking to nurses, patients, doctors, and so on, of where do they see gaps where they don't have a technology to fit that. So we see ourselves quite different maybe from other thermometer manufacturers. We see ourselves quite, we would call ourselves sensor experts. So we have very experienced physicists and engineers that actually can take sensors and manipulate them to optimize the detection of very, very low lights of signal, strength of signal, and so on. So we're going to take that technology and that expertise and build out other technology that, and the sort of core of our technology, as much as we can, is to never touch the patient, because you shouldn't have to. And secondly, to make it more comfortable for the patient and easier for the nurse to use. But yeah, we have another portfolio of products coming afterwards. And of course, once we get those connections through to the different infrastructures in virtual wards, hospital at home, hospitals, GP offices, and so on, bringing the next device to connect in, the infrastructures are ready. So really, that's where we see it. Our sort of future will be development of other technologies that will plug into that connected infrastructure, and make that enablement faster and the adoption faster, and get patients looked after more comfortably and better for the patient.
Well, sounds amazing. And as a final question, how can our audience contact you and engage with TriMedika?
Well, as I said, one of the keys we have seen to growth and to adoption of our device and so on is through partnerships. And partnerships, you know, there's no one company, person in this whole healthcare infrastructure globally that does everything. And I think a lot of synergies, and there's a lot of expertise that can be brought together that makes that turns maybe a certain idea into something amazing. We're moving into this world of data, where these connected devices, of course, they're helping the patient and the delivery of care, but they're also going to have a data enablement piece, and then that data can be used for other things. So we'd be very happy to talk to any of the companies out there that have platforms for use, as I say, in all of the healthcare delivery models of virtual wards, hospital at home, primary, secondary, tertiary care, so that we can help and work with them to move technology forward. So very happy to speak to anyone that would want to talk to us. And another thing, for anybody looking for information, if they just want to pop along to our website, it's www.TriMedika.com, and we can provide more information. And there will be a link to this webinar, and we have done a series of this podcast, and we've done a series of podcasts with some of the best minds in the US and other parts of the world. We're going to release a podcast within this week, which is with a professor at one of the universities in Tampa in Florida, and that's and this guy is a world expert in how healthcare delivery is changing, and how we want to be part of that. So please reach out if you want, and we'll be very happy to have that chat.
Well, sounds great. You have a great work, and you have great things coming. Thank you for your time, Rosie and Luke, and it was my pleasure to speaking to you and discover more in depth about your views on TriMedika's great task. Thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. And thanks to everybody.
Yeah, thank you everyone for listening. We will see you next month at our member spotlight interview, and stay tuned. Bye.
Bye-bye.